Hey, if you are brand new to the channel, we have about 1,000 new subscribers from the collab with Amy Landino. So welcome. Glad that you're here. If you're here brand new, again, if this is your first time kind of joining the channel, especially for a live stream, this is a test that I'm running. Not like a test, like this is a real video, but an experiment. How about that? An experiment for like a podcast, for a live session show that we can do pretty regularly to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be productive, to be focused, to use your bullet journal or whatever kind of productivity tool of choice that you need to do work that matters to you, to focus on the habits, the principles that matter in your life. And I think that's really important because I love the bullet journal. You all know that. I love the bullet journal. I love all kinds of productivity tools. But what really matters and what I have realized is that there are certain productivity principles that make a really big difference in what you're actually able to do and able to work on that matter even more than whatever tool you might use to actually get the work done. So whether you are using the bullet journal or the full focus planner or the self journal or a tool like Notion or Todoist or Evernote or Roam Research. I've used all of them. And I've realized time and time again that the principles of productivity that you implement in your life are the biggest indicator of how well you're going to do, how much stuff you're going to get done. We get ourselves kind of like confused or stuck with like, well, I got to try out this new app, I got to try out this new tool. Principles principles will migrate. Principles go easily with whatever tool you want to use. If you're just trying to, be a tool over user, then you're not going to get as much stuff done. All right. While you're coming in, let me know. Just say hey in the chat. I really like seeing those. Say hey in the chat and just let me know. Say hey where you're from. Again, my name is Matt, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City. Things are going well here. It's been very hot, but it's August in the South. So what else do you expect? Welcome, Tracy. Welcome, Abby. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, Sarah, Alexander, Andrew. How's it going? And Aaron. So glad that you're all here. Good number of people coming in live. Miss Kathy in West Texas, Texas forever. Well, Michelle, I can slide into my Tennessee accent at any time that you want. It's just the thing that I do. Someone saying that I don't have an accent, I can always come in with an accent. If you prefer that, just let me know. Let me know in the chat if you prefer kind of more southern Matt speak or just kind of my regular voice. It's all up to you. So, all right. One thing, let me show you. I'm going to do a video about this probably in the next week, but kind of personal disaster when it comes to the bullet journal. And let me show this to you on the. Oh no, oh no. For those of you that just might be listening to this, I don't know how this could actually happen, but I washed, yes, all the way through the wash with my bullet journal. And so kind of having a hard time right now. And so there's going to be a special video on what to do when you wash your bullet journal and how to I didn't rip this one. I put it through the wash. It was in a backpack with my son's, like with some of my son's clothes, and that whole backpack just got dumped into the washing machine. And yeah, that happened. Letitia, I think it is, like, OMG. Yes, absolutely OMG. So there's going to be a video on the washed up bullet journal, and yeah, that's going to be one that's coming soon. So be on the lookout for that probably next week, and we will go from there. Okay, 3 announcements before we get into like the meat of the content. 3 things. You can, just before I say that, if you're not on the email list for this, you can just go to mattragland.com/thinkers if someone doesn't mind putting it into the chat. But there are 3 things that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks or even the next couple of months for us to work together, or something new that I have planned that I know you're going to be interested in. Number one, there's going to be a bullet journal basics live training. This is going to be a multi-day live training community, something I'm going to be doing, taking you step by step on how to set up your bullet journal and be really productive and successful with it. So it's going to be multiple lessons, multiple days, really good for those of you that are kind of just getting started with the bullet journal, or just like want to take your bullet journal from this is just something I use to record some stuff to actually like being super productive with it, using it as a tool for analog action. So talking a lot about those principles that I discussed at the beginning. So make sure you sign up, mattragland.com/thinkers for Bullet Journal Basics Live. That's going to be happening at the end of the month. The next thing is for some of you, you may follow a guy called Tiago Forte, named Tiago Forte. He has a course called Building a Second Brain that I'm going to be heavily involved with starting at the end of the month and going all the way through September and into early October. So if you are interested, we're going to be doing a special webinar with Tiago next Wednesday, August 19th. You have to sign up for the email list to like get the invite and everything for it. It's not going to be broadcasted live on YouTube or anything. It's just going to be a private webinar. It's totally free. And what I love about Tiago's work is he is amazing at helping people organize information and then capture it and make sure that it is really accessible and organized for later use. So you don't have to. I always kind of think of it like if you get overwhelmed with information or you have trouble remembering like stuff that you wrote down or like where you put that note that you made, building a second brain will help you get much better at that. So make sure that you again are signed up for the email list. That's where you're going to get that special invite for the webinar with Tiago. And then number 3, a couple of people are in the chat from this group already, but I started doing a small group coaching program last month, and it has been one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And it's just incredible to work with a small group of people to really focus on habits, on productivity workflows, on mindset, on morning routines, basically everything that I have talked about on this channel for 2 years, distilling it down into really specific lessons, having a group for accountability and feedback. And it has been amazing. So shout out to Nori and Andrew are 2 that I've seen in the chat. We also have guest experts, like we're having a very small group Q&A with Tiago on Wednesday, so as an extra bonus to them. So if you are interested in the next round of coaching that's going to start in October, again, as long as you're signed up for the email list, I just sent out a update with some information for the next round of coaching that again will start sometime in October. So I'm going to share some links in the description below that help you get to the right place on those. But everything with that just comes in through the email newsletter first and foremost. So again, that's mattragland.com/thinkers. Okay. A few things that I want to tackle on the stream today. First and foremost, thank you for making the 10 bullet journal tips video from last week, the collab with Amy. Whether you're brand new or you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, by far the best opening week that I've had for a video since January, maybe February, but at least 6 months. Like this is the first time that a video has gone over 10,000 views in the first week since definitely February, if not January. So thank you so much. And there are a few things that I wanted to kind of pull out of that video to overemphasize for you or just expand on a little bit, because I think they're really important for like being productive with your bullet journal. A couple of things that I said and a couple of things that Amy said. First and foremost, I really liked Amy's point, and I made it in kind of a different way also of like when you're starting out with a bullet journal, don't think about it. Don't think about your structure as much. Don't be like, well, does this belong? Is this a task? Is this an appointment? Like just start writing things down. Don't think, just bullet. You can always go back and like adjust things, but more likely you're just going to continue to make adjustments and create your own like kind of system going forward. This is important because oftentimes, and we'll talk about this in greater detail in just a moment, but oftentimes at the beginning of something, we tend to overthink it, over plan for it, when most of the time you just need to start doing it and building that consistency in the short term, because that consistency will lead to more confidence and lead to more momentum in what you're actually doing. um, a lot of that is just built into a habit loop that we've been talking about the last probably for the last couple of months, or a lot, but specifically the last couple of months on this channel, is building in that habit loop of just starting really small. And the way that you can do that with a bullet journal, don't think about it, just bullets, just start making those task lists, write down the things that you need to do for the day. And the tip that I gave on top of this is make sure that you're just starting with a daily spread, a daily log, because if you just commit to one day at a time, you'll be able to restart a lot more quickly. You'll be able to build momentum a lot quicker. And so think about how you can stop overthinking it and just create a daily log for as many days straight as you can. Like that is the habit for bullet journaling that I would try and instill and encourage you on, is just focus on that daily log for at least the first week. Speaking of the week, another thing that I would do, at least initially, and at least especially if you feel like you have had trouble in the past of staying consistent with your bullet journal, or any kind of habit in general. You can kind of take your habit your habit for building habits and think about how you've done this in the past, for better or for worse. And when you just create a weekly spread at a time, what that allows you to do is that you are able to plan ahead a little bit for, like, say, today is Monday and I know I have these things to do on Friday. That allows you to go ahead and kind of write in those tasks or appointments or meetings or agenda items, things that you have to do this week. But it prevents you from, say, something that I see a lot, and I talked about this on the video. I just want to emphasize it for you, is that I see people who build out like a month at a time. And then when you skip a couple of days or a week, it can feel really bad that it didn't like do a little bit better. You start to, like get a little worried that you're like, oh man, maybe I'm not very good at this because I skipped a couple of days and I have these empty pages, and these empty pages are just staring at me and they make me feel bad and I'm feeling bad. So that's why I believe that daily logging that goes into weekly layouts and planning is the best way to start with bullet journaling. So make sure you check out that video that I did last week in collaboration with Amy. And that will be a good thing for you to start with. The other thing is that I've been thinking about a lot is this problem of overthinking and rebounding on the habits or on the things that you want to be doing. So we just talked about this a little bit with bullet journaling, but it applies to anything. And what I would encourage you to do is, if you've had trouble with bullet journaling or like daily journaling morning pages, or maybe it's a different habit that you want to focus on, like something with fitness or healthier eating or like a reading habit, it could be anything. Is oftentimes it's easy, we convince ourselves that we have to have this, grand plan for like our habit or what we want it to be. And we overlook the early action that is so important for building confidence and momentum going forward. And so anytime like I start building in a new habit, I try not to overthink it, and just focus on the first small action that I can take every single day, preferably at a particular time, so that I can kind of build in that creative confidence and resilience that allows me to kind of jump back into a habit anytime I might like stop doing it for a day or two or even a week. And I do this a lot with journaling. I talk about this in the context of bullet journaling and just regular like journal diary, like morning pages style writing, is that I try and always do this. Like my habit for doing this is while the coffee is brewing in the morning. Like that's the habit loop that I've built. So when the coffee is brewing, the routine is the cue is that the coffee is brewing. The routine is that I journal, and then the reward is that I get to drink coffee. This is iced coffee because it's hot. It's hot outside. And that is something that as I've done this over a long period of time, I don't have to overthink it as much anymore. And even when I get myself like I can tell I'm going down like the mental road of like, oh well, you got to write a whole page, you got to write 2 pages, 3 pages, whatever. And so I'm like, oh, well, I don't really want to do that, or I don't have time to do that right now. What I will focus on doing is just writing like a highlight for the day, something that I'm excited about, one thing that's on my mind, or even just one sentence about anything. It could be like just a short recap of, an event or something that happened, like no more than a paragraph or even a sentence, just something to help me mentally check off the box. Because, and this ties into the one of the bullet journaling tips, the fifth bullet journaling tip from that video with Amy, is make it your own. There's no one out there, like literally no one out there that is saying you have to do it to this level in order for it to be useful. For a lot of these things that we talk about when it comes to personal practices, habits, hobbies, there's no one out there literally that's going to say like, well, unless you run a mile a day, you're not running. Unless you write 1,000 words a day, you're not a writer. Unless you journal 3 pages, then you're not doing the journaling right. All of that is complete BS. To put it bluntly. I guess I could have put it more bluntly with the actual curse word, but all of that is just mind games that we play with ourselves that make us think that we're not good enough or not practiced enough, or not special enough or creative enough to do the thing that we want to be doing. When if you want to build a running habit, go out there and go for a walk, then run for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Great, good job, you're a runner. If you want to write, then write 100 words, 500 words, 1,000 words. Do it as often as you can. Become a writer. If you want to bullet journal consistently, start by writing down that daily log, expand out to a weekly layout, go to monthly, build out your goals, all the things that we talk about on this channel. So don't get yourself worked up and thinking that, you know, there's not like a judgment panel out there being like, well, Matt, you didn't like your bullet journal every day this week, so we're taking away your bullet journal card. You're no longer Here's your bullet journal card. Just kidding, it's the outline. Here's your bullet journal card. We're taking it away. That doesn't exist, and a lot of times we act as if there's some like unseen judging force, and surprise, surprise, that's just you in your head. So tell that judgmental self to take the day off, take the week off, just go away in general. Okay. I'm going to get into some of the questions once we get to the end of this, but probably got a few more minutes. Okay. One other thing that I want to talk about, and I might expand on this in a future Connect the Dots episode, but continuing on this idea of like being consistent. I have found over the past 10 years that in order to really create a lot of momentum in your work, in your habits, in your hobbies, and the things that you want to be doing with your life, 100 seems to be a pretty special number. Okay. Now, for me, that would have been the 100 video mark of this channel. Like I felt confident before that, but when I hit 100 videos, I noticed that I was really like I was building something, and I had like a group of people who were excited about the videos that I was putting out. I had built a lot of momentum by video 100. Now, like the 10x of that is realizing it's probably going to take me 1,000 videos, literally 1,000 videos, to really like even start to approach mastery of the subject of like the platform, anything like that. A really amazing example of this is Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD on YouTube. He's one of the top, if not the top, tech YouTuber. He's amazing, and what I love about one of the things I love about Marquez's story is that I saw a Q&A with him when someone was asking about his YouTube milestones, and he brought up, he's like, well, a really big milestone for me was when I published my 100th video on YouTube. I was like, oh man, Marquez is awesome. I wonder what that 100th video is like. So he linked to it. I went and found it. And Marquez, at the time of his 100th video, had 76 subscribers on his YouTube channel. Pretty crazy considering that as of right now, 11 years later, Marquez is over 1,000 videos and has, I believe, over 12 million YouTube subscribers. So you have what people ask is like, well, I have to be really good at this. And like, I don't know if I'm talented enough to do like X, Y, and Z. I guarantee you, if you do something 100 times, you'll build the momentum. If you do something 1,000 times, you are going to like be well on your way or already at a level of mastery for that topic, for that, habit, for that hobby that most people will never approach. So think about like kind of those 10x rules of like, say you want to do something 10 times to see if you're interested in it, like, make videos on YouTube or write blog posts or create a podcast, and then 100 videos to build momentum, and 1,000 videos or 1,000 pieces of content or 1,000 workouts, 1,000 entries in your journal to really achieve that mastery. Okay, last thing that I want to tell you before we get into a couple of questions is, as you're planning your week, so it's Monday, it's pretty much towards the end of the day on Monday, so maybe we'll start doing these on Sunday. But I want you to think about, as you're planning your week, we talked about this in the group coaching as something that we've worked on benchmarking every single week. This is week 5 of the program. But one of the things that we've talked about is at the beginning of the week, define the one thing that you want to make sure that you accomplish at the end of this week. Could be a goal, could just be a task that you've been putting off, could be, something that just gets dropped in your plate. When you do that, define what that thing is, define any related tasks or people that you need to collaborate with in order to complete it, accomplish it, and then make sure that you're blocking out time in your week to truly focus on that one thing. There's a great book by Gary Keller that talks about, like different parts of this. It's called literally The One Thing. Well worth reading, or just kind of checking out the Cliff's Notes on. And then make sure that you have a solid like trigger set up in your blocked time so that you can get right into the work that you need to be doing. So make sure you define the task, block the time, and build in like some kind of trigger, a habit trigger, to make sure that you're getting that thing done. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. We've got about 5 minutes, and then I got to scoot to take my son to an appointment. He's fine, by the way, just an appointment. Let's see. Where can I find Connecting the Dots Part 1? You can just find it in my video streams. If you just go to youtube.com/Matt Ragland and look at recent videos, it was from a couple of weeks ago. Miss Kathy B was saying, people get so wrapped up in perfection, they forget the bullet journal is supposed to be there to help you, not hurt you. Amen. Well said. Make sure that it is a tool for you. It is not using you. Okay. Jonah's saying, I have many meetings weekly. I hate rewriting them, but if I don't write them, I miss them on my daily. If I put them in weekly meeting spread that I reference daily, is there a better way? No, I tend to just rewrite them myself as well. And I think a weekly meeting spread could work also. It just kind of depends. If something comes up that I have like regularly, sometimes I might just put it into like Google Calendar recurring as well. But I think just keep doing what works best for you. But personally, I just rewrite my meetings each week. Stormra says, it's past 11 p.m. here in Denmark. I've missed this live broadcast. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, there's going to be a replay. It's going to, this is YouTube, so it'll go right up immediately after. Yeah, Sarah, what I hear is consistency builds confidence, which builds momentum. Yeah, absolutely. And the more that you do things, even in small doses, will really impact your confidence and the momentum that you build. And when you have that, it's an incredibly powerful thing because then even if you don't do the thing for a little while, you always have the confidence to start again really quickly, which is incredibly important and valuable. Like for me, like say I've been I've been doing sports and working out and involved in fitnessing for many years now. And so if I skip, a couple of days or even a week or even a month, like I wouldn't be worried about what I need to do to start working out again. I would just start working out again. I would just start doing it. And some people might think like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say. And yes, it is actually easy for me to say at this point because I've been doing it for so long. Journaling is kind of similar. And what I want you to think about is what are the habits or things that you have done for so long in a good way that even if you didn't do them for a little while, you feel very confident that you could start it back up again. And you can actually take a pretty long duration of time off and find that you still have the confidence to start again, which is incredibly valuable. Let's see. All right, last one. Sarah, I have a hard time with my perfectionism. I think just making consistent effort will help me feel better about where I'm at on a daily basis. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. That's you're exactly right. And again, what I would do is try and like practice that at a specific time that will kind of give you a time trigger in your day as well, so that you're going to feel like, okay, I just made coffee or I just made tea or I'm about to start work. That way I can, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit on this habit, on this momentum planning right now. That'll help. If you can tie it, I call this the tow truck trick. If you can tie it to a habit that you've already built, especially a mundane one, like sometimes I do it right after I'm brushing my teeth, so I just tie it to that habit. Okay. Thank you for being here, Sarah. 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday in New Zealand. Sarah is watching us from the future. Hope everything is well over there. Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Look for another one of these Connect the Dots episodes, probably in a couple of weeks. I have a couple of videos that I'm working on for you, but make sure if you are interested in the Bullet Journal Basics live program, check that out. There's also the upcoming Build a Second Brand webinar with Tiago Forte, and then a new group coaching program is going to start in October. You can learn about all those just by signing up on the newsletter, mattragland.com/thinkers. That's where you can find everything. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.